Sasha.
Okay.
Mine is bamboo. We all know why it's inside joke.
It's a spiritual growth.
Exactly. How are you gonna take something spiritual and make it carnal?
That's what Kurt Franklin did. He had
take
this
spiritual and make it carnal. He took carnal and made it spiritual.
He took
Carnal.
the spiritual into the club, and they was all in there singing. So he took the spiritual to the carnal, folks.
He was on in the club.
He was Kurt Franklin.
What club?
His music, not him.
That's what I'm saying. He took the spiritual.
But you know, literal Lucy right here going.
I think he kind of led him to the church.
Exactly. That's what he did.
I think
He's a good Christian.
And Kanye doing the same.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And I'm Lady Guns. That means I am greatness under no stipulation.
Besides Sugar Bear. This is First Lady Miss Divine.
Yay.
Who are you? You never did say.
Dr. Bizness.
Now who hollering?
Right.
That wasn't a holler.
It was at the beginning.
That was a
Rewind.
And clearly, we have someone, only one out of 4 people up here saying, and you are.
And I am Susan Elamine, the Pink Soldier.
Hey, the Pink Soldier.
Pink Soldier. I thought I told you. I had to bring Master P back for just a half a second.
Okay.
That was Master P.
No, it was No Limit Soldier. I thought I told you at first, but this is Pink. So, shut up, John. This is Pink Soldier. That was our engineer. He gave me that look like.
Don't do it. Don't try to do it.
Don't
Pink Soldier, we're so glad to have you here today.
Yes.
I'm so glad to be here.
Why are
Thank
you
for
not
having
a
me.
black soldier or a red soldier or
a purple
green
soldier
or a paisley soldier?
Paisley.
Because I'm a
Paisley.
woman. I'm a woman, and pink is what defines women.
Really?
And society is what defines women.
Why are you going to put women in a box like that?
I don't think it puts us in a box.
They've
I
been
think
trying their whole life to get out of the box and to burn their bras.
I knew he was going to say burning bra at some point.
Well,
in this
why?
episode.
Because I don't think it puts us in a box. I think we've owned it. I think we've owned it. I think we've earned it, and I think that we've taken it and we've made it a dynamic thing. And we've made it shine.
What about the men that wear pink?
Well, that's fine. They can wear pink. We share.
Real men wear pink. Come
Yeah,
on,
real men wear pink.
When you think about gender reveals, they always do pink or blue.
Yeah.
I don't know
why.
any kids, but if I did,
You don't want any kids?
I don't.
What?
Let me tell you, honey.
That was a little John Wood.
all of this right here. We good.
It goes back into place when you take care
I'm
of yourself
good.
like
No, it
yours.
don't.
I'm ready.
First of all, we wasn't talking to you.
set.
Number one.
I'm good.
Okay. Secondly, I was talking to Lady Guns. Thank you.
I spoke with too many women.
Now I have my girls. You know, I have my 2 adopted, and they're 21. Happy birthday, Sully! Today is her birthday.
Oh.
So I'm good with that. But when I think of if somebody asked me to host their gender reveal, I'll do that. I'll do something like the girls would be, I don't know, mother of pearl
You don't want kids.
with mint green, and the boys would be like paisley and plaid or something. It wouldn't be typical.
Come on, dude.
Pink and blue.
So
And when
you're
I
saying,
first-
hold up. You saying if you
first-
got married and you have a husband, he said, honey, I just want you to bear one of my children. You wouldn't do it?
I don't want any children.
I'm saying, not about you.
We're
it's
not.
about your
That's a
spouse.
discussion before we even get to that point.
When they first mentioned gender reveals, that's a common thing. I thought it was the LGBT.
Don't you do it. Don't you do
it. I really did. I thought
For those
that's
that
what
didn't
that
know,
was.
they literally.
When
Really?
they first came out, you know, when I first started hearing and stuff like that, I was
So I got to
like,
deal with Miss
okay.
Well,
Pink Soldier.
You know,
well.
I guess he revealing his she and she revealing his he.
Oh,
Well, I had to
yes.
ask what it was myself. I wasn't
See?
sure.
Exactly.
It's not
See?
a
I
50
was-
Shades of Grey type of
No.
party. You said that type of. Why is you?
LGBT
I was all in your-
communities.
It really just came out, and it was there. And I figured by the time I did that,
Nobody
I was like,
noticed. I'm sorry.
Camera with the camera. Rewind the video.
Did he lick his finger?
First one, he
I
lick his finger.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, wow, gender
Women in
reveals.
pink is what we're talking about.
We are, and I think that we've owned it, and I think we've earned the right to take something and say, okay, well, it's ours. You know, even though pink has always been associated with women, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, men have always taken something and said, okay, this is ours. Cigars are always associated with men.
That is true.
Sports, football's associated with men, you know, and things like that. And
There's
women
no
now,
women football players.
Yes, there are.
In the NFL. Let me finish
There's
that
a
statement.
women football league.
In the NFL.
there was one
Is
woman.
Is it WNFL?
She's talking about the NFL though. She's talking about
Yeah, well,
NFL,
but
National
understand,
Football League.
No woman should want to be in that.
The way our
but
society
they
is
are.
today.
There's a lot of women that want to.
Yes,
There are girls that are
bodybuilders.
playing
Yes.
And that's
boy
different.
football.
But the same way that you discuss, who would want to move to California and live right there, 2 seconds away from a forest fire, wildfire.
Great people do.
Same thing. All of the concussions, contusions, and breaks and stuff like that.
And people do.
Why would
Because they do.
somebody want to be a part of that?
Cray cray.
Yeah,
Please don't ever use that word again. I'm so sick
Why?
of it. Ugh.
it's like a word
Come
out.
up with it's worn out. Come up with a different word. You're so articulate with your vernacular. I think that you
You're
would
right.
be,
You can find another terminology
find
besides
another-
crazy.
But I'm trying to be relatable to the
Clinically-
people.
No,
Clinically
let's not.
insane.
Yes,
You
I
need to
have to be.
teach the people. Teach the people a new word every
But
episode.
every now and then. Every now and then.
Come on, give us something.
I got to
Teach
be
us
able to
an herb over
relate
here.
to
The
the
doctor
people.
got to give us. I'm start calling you Dr. Syracuse. I'm gonna change
No,
your
we're
whole
not. It
name.
don't feel like that.
Your
Pink
whole
Soldier,
name.
It don't at all.
Yeah, I need to learn.
Okay.
Pink
I'm
Soldier,
one of
what do you
those.
have going on? Because if we don't stop them, they ain't gonna never stop.
Well, I would have to say right now I'm focusing on just trying to bring a monthly group together, so that a lot of female veterans, because I am a veteran, I should say.
okay,
I did not
okay.
say that. And let me just tell you a little bit about myself.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I come from a military family. Okay, and I am that military brat that was that daddy's girl that decided I was gonna be yes,
Yes, we walk that line.
that I was going to go into the military and I was going to be like my dad and I was not going to disappoint my dad. And
You wound up being a disappointment.
oh, absolutely not.
Not at all.
What? No,
Praise
I
the
was a
Lord.
soldier.
Okay.
And I believed that I was gonna win. But then I fell in love, and then I, was young and dumb.
Course changed.
Messed it up for everybody.
And so, you know what?
You're gonna have to learn how to talk over the guy. That's what they call that
So-
background noise, white noise. Yeah, learn how to talk over the white noise. Keep going.
So, but so anyway, the thing is that after I went in, I ended up becoming a nurse and being involved with veterans through the VA, and ended up working in mental health. And as I worked in mental health, I saw the problems that we were having as veterans, and especially female veterans, and the need. And so there was a big need in the community for us to try to come together. And the VA, they weren't supporting female veterans.
What?
And so the last time that I worked at the VA was in 2017. And I worked in the substance abuse residential rehabilitation program, treatment program. And when I said that's it, I was in grad school. And I made a decision I was going to leave. I was going to finish grad school, and I was going to open up something on the outside so I can be more creative to try to bring female veterans in. Was because there was a young lady that was a combat vet that had been raped on the battlefield by one of our soldiers, and she had
One
come
of our
home-
own?
One of our own, and it happens more than we realize.
It does.
It happens.
Friendly fire.
It's not friendly.
At all.
And it happens more than we realize. And if you have additional traumas in your life, and she did, she was 20, she was a baby, and she came to the program. She struggled, and she struggled. She graduated. She left, and several months later, they found her dead with a needle in her arm.
Wow.
No.
So after that, and it's kind of heavy, but but after that, I said, you know what? No, not without a voice. Not without a voice. And so I decided that I was going to have to try to stir up something, and that I was going to have to try to create a voice, and that's what I've been working on. And it's been slowly coming, but I've been meeting ladies and going to different places and talking to different ladies and stuff, and been talking to other groups. And there are a lot of female veteran groups that are out there, but they're not really coming together to the point to where we can make a big voice. And there's 2 million of us, so the voice needs to be heard. And so I'm working on a documentary
Okay.
And the documentary is it's called Pink Soldiers, and so it's just to tell our story.
And you know that is going to, and I have to tell you what you already know, that presenting a documentary in its authenticity and transparency like that, it's going to piss off a lot of leadership.
Yeah.
Because that is, that's it. We walk the same walk, being military dependents, being in a military environment, and then serving with the armed forces. You don't get to hear those stories. Wow. A lot of that is truly brushed under the carpet. And if it's not brushed under the carpet, there's so many other things, impeachment and whatever else, to talk about that they're ignored and disregarded, which ends up leaving the victims of those crimes, literally just disregarded or ignored. In some ways, somehow, not often, but most of the times, it was their fault. Well, you shouldn't have went to combat anyway.
Absolutely.
Or you should, it's never just, I'm sorry this happened to you, and then move on from there. How can we do better? What can we do? When they talk about VA rights and VA privileges and VA benefits, that is not one of the topics. That's not at the top of the totem pole.
VA is Veteran Affairs.
Veteran Affairs. All things dealing with a former service member of the U.S. Armed Forces. It's heartbreaking. I have been blessed to work with a couple of people, through the VA. My father being a vet, that's a world that I'm familiar with, and conversations that I'm accustomed to. And the stranger the story, the more people that are civilians are like, nah, shut up. That and get out of here. And I think, you know what it's equivalent to? Being in a church and a scandal happens in the church. It could be the same scandal. Preacher cheats on wife. Oh God, they lose members and it's crazy and I can't believe this place and that's why I don't go to church anyway, whatever. Well, if the dude on the front row, he ain't a preacher. He been cheating on his wife for years now and nobody left or went away.
That's expected.
That, but they said that. Yeah. But they set that false expectation, on there. Same thing when it comes to the military.
Right.
There's a false sense of security, that they're protected and they're covered and, they've got a glamorous life and everything goes their way and they've got all the benefits and the perks and this and that, whatever. And it's so not the true reality of it.
That's true.
That when you hear about it, you're like, no, not in the military.
No way.
I went to the VA hospital and they wouldn't even take me.
Of course not.
Well, Dr. Smith,
They said I had to be a vet first.
You're not a pink. I was gonna say he's not a pink or a blue soldier. You need to go sit down.
What?
Yeah. So, but
He's a toy soldier, but they don't take down me.
Right, no.
the one thing that I will say is that the VA, they're making changes.
They are.
They're making changes. Some of the questions that they have now are they're asking female veterans if they have had any sexual assault in the military, which is huge.
To even put that up there.
For them to even ask that question.
Because they have that don't ask, don't tell type policy on a lot of things.
Really?
Right.
They just don't want to know.
They don't want to know. And, so for them to do that, that's super huge. And so I'm thankful for that.
What are they going to do once they get the information, though?
Well,
Baby steps.
Well, it is baby steps. But, what they do is they refer other, they'll refer you to programs. And they have more programs, but they don't have the staff. And that's one of the bigger problems with the Veterans Affairs. They don't have the staff to really help people. However, and that's when the community care program comes in, where a lot of veterans, they don't even realize they can go to the community and they can go and they receive services in the community.
A lot faster.
And so a lot faster. They can be more creative in the community with the care that they will receive. And like a lot of Vietnam veterans, they don't want to come to the VA anymore. They still, upset. They're still upset about Vietnam. And, they can come and they can sign their paperwork and they can go to the community, go back to another doctor in the community.
Do you think that with the draft that took place previously, they just did not calculate the cost when the war was over and everybody now comes home, that now we have to service all of these people? Because they were at one point giving bonuses out and we'll cut you a check, and they were like getting anybody and everybody, and if that didn't work, well, we're gonna draft you anyway, anybody between this age and this age. So they like got everybody into the war, But now after the wars are over and we're in peacetime and you get to come home,
The dust settle.
we don't have nothing for you.
Well, you know what? They have conflicts, different conflicts. But you know what? Then they had Iraq, which, you know, war brings money.
It
You know,
does.
and they make money out of war. So they had Iraq and Afghanistan, and believe it or not, it creates money. And that's why they want to continue to have conflicts, because it creates money, unfortunately. You know, so
But why don't
the
they
money,
take that money and put it into the hospitals and the services in order to take care of the vets when they do come back home?
people don't want to stay there and work. The system is antiquated. If you go into the VA, I worked in the VA 10 years. If you go to the VA, it's
Keep going.
if you work in the VA is like like going to Fort Bragg. You know, it's like you're still in the military.
Whoa.
You know, to a certain degree, it's like being in the military. It's like a military. It's a system.
So why don't they privatize the VA hospitalization system where you get discounted services and the same pricing that you would pay by going to a VA hospital, get that by going to a Novant or a Presbyterian hospital, just basically privatize it, and then the government subsidizes the Novants and the Presbyterians of the world to take care of the VAs. So now you can go any place you want to go to, show your vet card, and get quality medical care without having to pay for it.
But there's a certain, there has to be a certain skill set and knowledge skill to understand military is not the same as civilian. And that's where the lack of staffing comes in at. If you and I both got shot, you got shot on the streets and I got shot in war, we could get the same medical care, but the therapy that goes with it is completely different. It's completely different, and you cannot just approach a veteran as you would when it comes to their mental wellness, their mental well-being, based upon the trauma they've experienced. You can't just do it like a Novant, like any everybody
Have you
else.
ever gotten shot in active duty?
I've been in a suicide bombing, but I did not get shot. I've been in
Bless.
several gunfights.
Would you like to see my bullet wound?
Oh my God. On that note, family, you're tuned in to the Profit and Growth
Cigarette
Hour here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. I got to rush the restroom right quick. You,
What? It looked like one.
it is not.
He got a biopsy. He's been telling everybody since then.
It's a gunshot.
Trying to get my street credit up.
Please, quickly.
Yeah. So,
That's excellent.
Very good.
okay. Thanks.
How far along are you in the development of the program? Let's ask this question. What is your goal? Opening date. What's your open date goal? Like
My open date goal is June of 2020 for the Readjustment Center,
Okay.
because that's what it's going to be for.
Right,
What we
right.
talked about for Pink Soldier. But as far as for the groups, I want to start the actual groups starting in January.
Okay.
And then
Do you
try to
have-
create the group, you know.
Do you have existing staff already to help support that?
I don't have like full staff. I